Hey guys, it's Blue. I'm starting a new series today called Mental Health Mondays. I think my goal is to kind of talk about some things I've experienced, what's worked for me, and help other people going through a tough time. If you like today's video, please comment below and subscribe to become a part of the Epic Gang Mobster Gamer Squad. Also, subscribe to my OnlyFans for more sexy pics of blue cheese. So, my mind's been in a lot of places for a while. These last few months have really sucked ass for me personally, but I don't think anything really hits harder than losing a friend to suicide. And I don't really like to keep saying this because I feel like I've addressed it so many times. Mental health, it just goes without saying that it's important. It's okay to talk about it and it's okay to feel how you do, even if you're a dude. I mean, personally, I feel like as a dude, I can't really talk about shit. I have to bottle it up and just get over it because that's what I was taught when I was a kid. I think it's really hard for everyone, and it kind of sucks when you feel that low, right? Because you kind of don't even really want to talk about it sometimes. You just kind of want to sit in a bubble and be in your own space, in your own mind. Sometimes when I'm in a low spot, I end up listening to music. I listen to, well, maybe not emo, but I don't know. Lately I've been listening to I Prevail, which is a fucking awesome band. And I think a goal of mine is to try and invest maybe in like an electric guitar or something so I can play a song. They have a song I really like that's called Breaking Down, and I think it's just fucking badass. I've been watching the Do his YouTube channel a lot, kind of trying to see what he's doing with that and all of that stuff. Shit, man, where do I begin? So 2017, I just graduated high school, and by this point, I think I was pretty confident. Like I was very anxious about the future, and I still didn't really know what I wanted to do. But I ended up kind of going to college because that's something I think a lot of people are pressured to do when they graduate high school. And so, I didn't really, I think I said this, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I ended up kind of just, I went for about a week and then I just straight up stopped going. I dropped out completely. In fact, I don't even know if I dropped out per se. Like, I don't think I had to sign anything. I think I just straight up left and just never went back again. I had this scholarship that would have allowed me to basically go to college tuition free. But the issue, however, is that I didn't want to fucking go to college. I mean, I didn't know what I was really doing. I showed up one day and then I just kind of followed people around to get an idea of where I was supposed to go. And I think at some point I ended up going to this classroom where I just sat down and we were doing some kind of math that I never understood, like ever. And I was the only one who was just looking at my paper and just sitting there with a pencil in my hand. I was just thinking, why the fuck am I doing math? I'm supposed to be getting some kind of degree in like visual arts or photography. Like what the fuck does any of this have to do? I never learned calculus. I don't know what the hell that is. Best of all, there's no one here to like help me understand this stuff, and I just felt really like left out, and really dumb. Something a lot of people don't know about me, and that I prefer to kind of keep private, is that I have high functioning autism. I used to call it Asperger's syndrome because at the time that I was going to school, that's what it was called. Anyway, yeah, so I ended up going to this class, and I think I went to some other class too. But then, it was such a hassle going. And I think when you're going to college, it has to be something you really want to do, right? Like, it's not something that anybody's forcing you to do, or at least you shouldn't be forced to do. And if you want to do it, then go for it. But if you don't, then like, why are you putting in all this effort to do something that maybe just isn't for you? And so every day I wouldn't even go to class. I would just walk in because my mom would drop me off, and it was just such a pain in the ass. I just didn't understand any of it. And I think the reason I was going is only because in high school it was kind of just thrown at us constantly. Yeah, It sucked. And every day I would go in, I would just sit down and just sleep for the next 8 or so hours until I could be picked up. And so that pretty much sums up my experience with college. Now, outside of college, I still was kind of I think I was doing pretty good for a while. Some of those friendships, prior to graduating high school and stuff like that, I kind of expected friendships to just kind of fade off and people to just like grow apart and stuff. That didn't really happen, or at least not in the way that I thought it would. Shit, there were some times when those friends I would talk to those friends and we'd hang out a little bit, and sometimes because I had a camera, and this is back when I was first starting out doing portrait photography, and so I had these friends who would uh, hit me up and they would ask me if I could take photos for them and all that stuff, and they were like super excited. Like I don't know, I'm kind of surprised so many people really enjoyed having portrait photos taken of themselves that much that they would pay another person rather than like just taking a picture of themselves these days, which I think that's kind of a thing with photography, right? Is because you're not just competing against other photographers, you're competing against everyone with a phone, and that's what my well, he doesn't like being called boss, I don't think, but that's what sort of like my employer, I guess it's all right if I call him that. That's what he was saying to me recently. And yeah, and for those who don't know, I work for a photography company that specializes in sports photography for kids. So yeah, I don't like kids very much personally. I'm not great with kids. I've never been good with them. It's one of those things that you kind of get better with in time, so long as the parents and the coaches are watching over them and they're not, kicking a ball directly into your path. Everything's good. Well, anyway, so yeah, 2017 was pretty good. I think it started out kind of rough at first, but then school graduation came, and I think I was just super happy to be out of school. And I'm not gonna lie, I felt kind of bad at first because there was some memories I'd be leaving behind, and I think a part of me. I thought that it would just be the end of the world, but no, it's like they say, it's a new chapter of your life. There's so much more beyond high school. Now, anyway, so I had this, yeah, I helped out I was helping out some friends with favors, and of course, this is back when I just didn't know how to say no sometimes. I had this friend, let's call her Jane. Now, Jane and I go way back, years ago, to when I had just transferred schools, and this was in seventh grade. And when I first met her, I just thought, this girl is so adorable. She has the most beautiful smile, the most beautiful eyes, and I thought that she was the brightest among every star in the universe. And yeah, I was a real Shakespeare when it came to this stuff. I'd write poems to her all the time, and I had absolutely no fucking chance with her. Yeah, it's those were some different times, and I'm sure she's over that by now, but I really did care about her as a person, even though she never felt the same way about me. So, a couple of years back, Jane and I began talking over Facebook. She really wanted some photos taken of her, and her mom was willing to pay me for them as well. So, I met up with them, took some photos, and they seemed to like them, and everything turned out pretty well. And yeah, and so since that point, we started hanging out a little more. And there were times when she'd also ask for favors, or maybe I just offer to help her out. Maybe some part of me thought, well, maybe there's a very small chance of a future where we could be together. Remember at this time, um, yeah, I was starting to have some issues with my mental health, and I don't know why. Maybe part of that was social media, and there was some drama going on with some other friends I used to go to high school with. I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but everybody's kind of like connected to each other. Everybody has ties to each other in some kind of way, and so there was a lot of drama going on about me. So anyway, so during this time, my friend Jane, her dog went missing. And so I, unfortunately, at this point, I had like an acute upper respiratory infection. Um, and I was just really sick. It was absolutely awful. If you've ever had that, then you know what I'm talking about, man. It sucks so much ass, and it was freezing cold. But anyway, I ended up paying someone, a staff member from my school, to drive me over to her house because, of course, I couldn't drive. I didn't have a car, didn't have a license, and so we walked around in the cold for a while. I was constantly trying to hide the fact that I was sick. It was so dumb. It was so awkward. Um, anyway, yeah. So I walked around for a while, calling out for Farah, trying to help her. Just trying to be there as a friend. That's all. Yeah, we never found her. I wish I could say there was a happy ending to this, but no, it's kind of a sad story. We never really found her. So anyway, yeah, I helped out. I tried to put up info about Farah. That's the name of her dog, on many websites for missing animals and pets and things like that. And supposedly they'd also put up missing poster signs, but yeah, I was doing all of this. I was doing a lot. I think I was being a good friend at the time. Jane had, I think, for like as for the websites and stuff, she wanted me to. She was like, "Hey, do you mind just taking care of that, posting all that and stuff?" Yeah, thanks. And she kind of, I don't know if she was partying or if she was doing her own thing, whatever. So that was that. Anyway, so there were other times too that I can't remember because it was just so long ago that I'd give her money or give her mom money because I know they were both struggling. And I believe I even made a fundraiser at some point for Jane. Yeah. And, I went out of my way to help her a lot. All of that would shortly come to an end because some kind of thing happened. Can't quite remember what it was. I think a friend of hers told me something, and there was some kind of miscommunication or I interpreted it wrong, and I got super pissed at Jane. I think I cussed her out. I don't know what happened, but I try to make it up. I try to go back once I realized that I was wrong, but kind of not really because I felt like, in a way, at the very least, I had a right to be upset. And at that point, Jane had Jane's friend who said all of that shit to me about Jane, that Jane was saying the shit about me. Uh, yeah, she went off on me and blocked me, and then Jane turned around and said something and called me Thanos or something. I don't quite remember how that happened. Yeah, kind of weird being compared to the mass murderer of the entire fucking, or sorry, half of the universe. She ghosted me. I've had many moments like that, and this is all over social media, by the way. This all happened over social media, and that's something that I don't like. Is that relationships and friendships, especially the kind that are formed over social media, are really kind of being held together by a thread. And if you go over that thread just a little bit, then everything goes to shit. And there you go. You've easily lost somebody. You can just send, sometimes you can, all it takes is a text message to fucking destroy a relationship. And that's kind of dumb. I don't know. I feel like so many relationships these days have sort of become this thing where it doesn't take much to pull people apart from each other. So anyway, let's fast forward to about a year later, 2019. Actually, yeah, let's move on to 2019. So 2019, by this point, I was going through a lot mentally. I ended up gaining a lot of weight. I think my highest was about 280 pounds. I had considered suicide. Just so much shit had happened by that point, and I just all of those friendships that I held so close, people I'd helped out, all of those would come to an end some way or another. Felt like my life wasn't worth much, that I'd let everyone down, and yeah, I just wanted it to be over. Well, that didn't happen. I ended up checking into a psychiatric facility, a hospital, mental hospital, basically, where I spent about a week there, about 7 days. I remember it felt like an eternity. It was kind of therapeutic in a way. Well, not so much the classes or the doctors, but also being able to meet people who were going through a lot of similar but also very different situations. People who are much older than me, much younger than me, maybe even my age at the time. It really kind of, and these were some really great people. You could tell they were dealt a shitty hand in life, and maybe some of them were there by their own mistakes they made, but they were all alive, and I was too. And I remember once I stepped foot outside of those doors and like I left, dude, it was such a great feeling, dude. I was just so happy. I felt free, you know, like nothing could stop me. Like I felt good. Once I got home, I remember I remember I wouldn't stop talking. I would just keep talking about everything that happened, and just in the fullest detail imaginable, every little thing. At some point, my self-esteem started to really improve, and things got better. Things got better. Actually, no, this wasn't even 2019. This is 2018. Well, shit. Well, anyway, so yeah, 2018. Um, all this happened, and I started to get better, and then things took a dive again towards that later that year, and I think part of that was because this person Jane had popped up into my life at some point, and of course I started feeling really shitty again. I told myself I needed to get it together, but I think it was February 2019. I ended up in a hospital again. Of course, all of these friendships, these memories that I had from the high school days, all of those began to really just dissipate completely at that point. I ended up leaving home one day, and this was about 20 degrees outside, and I believe my plan was to walk over to this bridge, and I didn't. Yeah. So anyway, I wore a light jacket and some pants. Some pants. It wasn't even not even. Maybe it was jeans. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I left home and I had been walking for several hours. I didn't tell anyone where I was going. I had issues with family, and my relationships there were falling apart, and I just began to think of myself as a burden. So I just left and I didn't tell anyone. At some point, I ended up not going through with it. I realized, oh my god, this is fucking stupid. I think I was gonna walk into traffic, but then I thought, well, no, I don't want to do that. So anyway, I chickened out. Ended up just calling the police or the suicide hotline. Tried to contact somebody. It was a fucking hassle, dude. Let me tell you. Let me tell you what sucks about the hotline. You call the hotline, you gotta wait 5 fucking minutes or probably 10 minutes. You gotta really be willing to put in the effort to actually get help. That's the thing, right? And it sucks because sometimes in those moments, you need something right there that doesn't involve causing harm to yourself. You need a realistic, practical, convenient solution, right? And the hotline, unfortunately, they probably got a lot of people on the other end of that line, and that's the thing, right? You're not the only one dealing with shit, and you don't even realize it. But it's just so hard to get help, Anyway, so call the hotline, police arrive, and I'm talking to them for a little while, and I ended up going to the hospital. I found myself in this position where there was a lot that I had to go through to get there, to get settled in and transferred and all of that stuff. That was dreadful. But after all of that was over, by that point, I feel like I was a new man. Like my life turned a new leaf, and I went back home, and I kind of forgot about everything I was dealing with before. Maybe for other people, you would think that's different because it's like, you're going back home to the same environment and stuff. I don't know. I feel like the change was so significant, and I felt like I was away for so long that when I got back home, I just felt relieved. I wasn't thinking of anything or toxic people that didn't matter or friends that just wanted to take advantage of me. Situations that I found myself in a lot. Anyway, so I got back home just in time for Game of Thrones season 8, and by this point, I hadn't seen Game of Thrones at all, so I went through every season I could before season 8 started, and just started watching Game of Thrones all the way through. And I got so into the show, I was just thinking, man, I don't know why I didn't pick up on this years ago. And yeah, I mean, season 8 sucked ass, but it was a good time. I have some good memories of watching this show, man. I was so excited. We got HBO. We paid for that just to watch Game of Thrones at that point when that was going on. So that was fucking awesome, dude. Yeah. So the point is, it was rough. Things were rough, but things started to get better. Right when I thought the world ended. And so again, this person, Jane, she showed up again. She popped up out of nowhere. Well, we started talking again. She had me thinking for a second everything, had been okay. And by this point, I think I'd forgiven her for stuff, but I realized that I wasn't going to let her or anybody try to bring me down, I realized that my life is worth something. And I think that's probably, and I do say this, like, in general, right? I think that's got to be the biggest thing that people like to see is when you can see the worth in your own life, when you can be confident and look at yourself and feel good about yourself and not give a shit about what someone else thinks. I think people kind of appreciate that more. People are more attracted to that. Anyway, so she came back, and I don't know why she did. Well, actually, no. That's no. I know why she did. She came back, and then she asked me for money, and my dumbass helped her out, and then she basically fucked off. Anyway, during this time though, it made me feel like shit. But you know what? I should have known this would happen, and I blame myself for letting it happen. But you know what? No, it's not gonna be the enemy. And so, coincidentally, during this time, I started playing a game called SCP Secret Laboratory. It was here that I started playing, and I wasn't very confident using my microphone, But I really enjoyed the game so much. Playing scary games, being able to experience that terrifying terrifying moment with other people, that was super cool. But yeah, I met these awesome people who changed my life, and they made me forget about all that other shit. So from that point forward, I decided to make videos with them, and we had this Discord server going. And then for like a year, I stopped talking to these friends of mine because I don't know if I was distracted, but I think that same person, Jane, I think she came up again, and that's where, and some other stuff happened too. I think some other stuff may have been going on. So she came back in my life, and I left behind this group of friends for a good minute, and I kept thinking about, maybe I should just talk to them. Maybe I should start playing games with them again, because I noticed it just made me feel better. But I just couldn't bring myself to do it because I felt so shitty, and I didn't want that to be on them or anyone else. I didn't want anyone to suffer or feel awkward or uncomfortable because of my issues. There's so many happy moments, and they're kind of really the reason I started making videos again. But now I'm just sitting here thinking, I really miss those times. We live in dark times. 2020 was fucking terrible. I lost my uncle that year. I really do think 2020, looking back, was a bad year, but I think it had its moments. 2019 though, that's really where it was at. Coming up is my uncle's 1 year anniversary, and my friend he's gone. So, well, I guess this is getting kind of depressing. So time to change the mood a little bit. So expect more videos in the future. I'm thinking about doing a game review coming up in a couple of days. I don't know, we'll see. And of course, I want to work on a video for Cyberpunk 2077. I think something that I want to do is I just want to get to a better place, and I want to try to remember the good times, and I want to be able to inspire people and make people happy. That's really kind of what I want to do, because there's no better feeling than laughing with someone else to share those moments. I just want to leave something worthwhile behind for the future, to let people know that I was here. I want to say thank you to my friends that have had my back, and I'm sorry if I let you down, and I'm sorry to everyone else that I've let down. That's all for today. I will see you next Monday, or actually even before then. But anyway, yeah, thank you guys. And if you have any experiences you would like to share, then feel free to comment below. Thanks.